At Uptown, Chelsea anxiously waited for Madison while her phone kept buzzing. A call from Kat revealed that Madison had missed their date as planned. Kat, who was at the hospital, said she'd check if Madison was there. A little later, she texted Chelsea to say Madison's shift had ended 2 hours earlier. Disappointed, Chelsea was about to leave the cafe when Madison suddenly showed up in scrubs. Madison explained that she had been stuck in the ER because a child had vomited on her date dress, making her late. Chelsea gave Madison a rose and offered to help retrieve the purse Madison had left behind. The two began sharing more about themselves. Madison admitted she often rushed into relationships, never realizing it was too fast until it suddenly ended. Chelsea wasn't surprised and showed understanding, especially when Madison was impressed that Chelsea could fix a phone. They talked about Chelsea's father, Bill. Chelsea said she never shared her dating life with him, unlike her sister Naomi, who was smart, argumentative, and the spitting image of Bill. Madison encouraged Chelsea, saying she was one of the smartest women she had ever met. Their bond deepened, beyond initial expectations. Madison shared that past relationships had distracted her from her medical work. Chelsea related, saying that modeling wasn't as glamorous as people thought. It required strict diets and training. Madison confessed she had never dated anyone like Chelsea and, for the first time, felt like letting her guard down. Chelsea also felt free with Madison, unjudged and unrestrained. That peace was interrupted when Madison noticed a woman staring at them. Chelsea revealed it was Allison, a married woman she used to date. Allison approached the table, apologized for the intrusion, and asked to speak with Chelsea privately. Madison kissed Chelsea goodbye and left, saying she had an early shift. Allison sat in Madison's chair and began speaking. She appeared regretful and said she missed Chelsea. She admitted her husband, Craig, had issued an ultimatum. If she continued seeing Chelsea, their marriage would end. So she had to choose. But now she realized Craig wasn't who she thought he was: bitter, angry, and frightening. Chelsea was surprised, having never seen Craig as aggressive. Allison said he had always been that way, just good at hiding it. Chelsea offered help, but Allison refused. Instead, she wanted to rekindle their relationship. Meanwhile, Madison returned to Uptown and saw Allison and Chelsea sitting together. She said nothing, but her eyes revealed the hurt. At Orphe Jean, Leslie met Eva, who was surprised by her estranged mother's dinner invitation. Leslie admitted that being shunned by the entire town hadn't been easy. She was lonely and wasn't seeking sympathy, just a reconnection with her daughter. Eva replied that Leslie should have thought about that before dragging her into a scheme against Ted and then abandoning her. Leslie recalled meeting Ted and how, like Eva, she had once been lost, doing odd jobs to survive. Ted had once seemed like a ray of hope, but he turned out to be someone else. Eva told Leslie she had lost herself and asked who she was without her dream of being with Ted. Leslie, emotional, remembered the happy moments they'd shared in poverty. Eva teared up as Leslie reached out and held her hand. Jacob and Kat entered the restaurant and witnessed the touching moment. They sat at another table. Jacob warned Kat that her involvement might compromise the investigation. He mentioned a security expert had found a scratch on the left side of a motorcycle helmet, opposite to what surveillance footage showed. Kat remembered the bike had turned around to check on Laura after the crash, meaning the scratch could line up. If confirmed, Leslie could be charged. At their table, Leslie asked Eva about her new job at Ted's clinic. Eva said Kat was helping her get settled. Leslie warned her to be cautious around Kat. Eva reassured her. Leslie admitted she felt guilty for dragging Eva into her revenge plot and hoped they could heal, even if it took time. Kat smirked from the next table, teasing, "You're cooked." Leslie wondered what she meant. Frustrated by the slow progress of the investigation, Kat asked Jacob what would happen if they didn't get enough evidence. Jacob replied that Leslie would go free. Kat glanced at Leslie and Eva leaving, suspicion in her eyes. At Lakeview Casino, Martin entered the VIP room and confronted Bill. Bill, furious, said Martin was endangering the entire operation. Martin insisted on staying and not being kept in the dark. Bill said he'd handle the money for Kenneth and told Martin to stay away. Reluctantly, Martin left. Joey Armstrong appeared, asking if Martin could be controlled. He reassured Bill that the casino would temporarily shut down to complete a deal with the blackmailer, ensuring Kenneth wouldn't notice anything. Bill refused to collaborate with Joey, citing his respected law firm. Joey didn't care. He only asked if Randy was ready. Randy, hesitant, agreed to do whatever was needed. At the country club, Martin spotted Kenneth bussing tables and quietly followed him. Kenneth met Diego, and Martin continued tailing them until Diego confronted him. Diego offered to train with him, distracting Martin and causing him to lose track of Kenneth. Meanwhile, Kenneth entered the VIP room at Lakeview Casino. Bill approached, introducing himself as the fixer. Kenneth didn't recognize him. Bill warned Kenneth to stay away from the Dupree situation or face unforeseen consequences. He threw a bag of cash on the table and left, leaving Kenneth stunned and greedily counting the stacks. As Kenneth was counting the money, Randy suddenly appeared, pulled a gun, and aimed it at him. Kenneth was shocked. Outside the casino, Martin called Bill and was told to meet at the country club in 15 minutes. When they met, Bill ordered a double bourbon and refused to share what had happened. Martin looked at him with doubt and disappointment.